My name is Colleen, and this is my kitchen. I've struggled with my weight my entire life. After trying every diet in the book without any success, I came to the realization that diets don't work. I started my journey at a size 26W, weighing just over 300 pounds. In almost a year and a half, I've lost over 120 pounds, and I am a size 14. No W. What's my secret? Eating healthy and moving more. Now I'm here to show you how you can cook healthy food without compromising on taste and lose weight just like I have. Because if I can do it, you can too.
Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Tonight we're going Asian and we're going vegetarian. We're going to be cooking with tofu tonight. It's been a while since I've made a tofu dish for you. But tonight we're going to be making a coconut curry tofu stir fry, and we're going to serve that over rice. And I love this coconut curry because I use 3 different kinds of curry in it. And I bet you didn't even know there were 3 different kinds of curry. So we'll be talking about what those are, but our dish is going to start, first of all, with some rice that we're going to serve this over. I'm just using a brown, quick-cooking basmati rice. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring that to a boil. I'm using 1 cup of the basmati rice. And then I have about 8 ounces of tofu. And what I want to do, this is a firm tofu, and what I want to do is go ahead and cut this into 1-inch cubes. Now, I really like to bake my tofu as opposed to put it in the stir fry. When you put it in the stir fry, it tends to just fall apart, and so I like to bake it, and that makes it a little bit crispy, almost like a little bit of a crouton in your stir fry. And so I'm just going to cut this into 1-inch cubes, just like this. And then I have here a baking sheet that I've sprayed with some non-stick cooking spray. And I'm just going to lay these out in a single layer. If they kind of stick together, just separate them a little bit. And that's it. I'm going to bake them for about 10 minutes at 400 degrees, about 5 minutes on each side. So while those are baking, let's get the rest of our stir fry going. Now everything for our stir fry is going to cook pretty fast, so what I like to do is prep all my vegetables first and then get it cooking. And that way nothing overcooks while I'm prepping. So the first thing, I have 8 kind of small green onions or scallions here, and I'm just going to trim these. So trim the green parts off. I want to keep this light green part here. And then what I'm going to do is just chop these just like this. Next up, I have 1 red bell pepper here. I love to use the bell pepper because it adds a nice hint of color to the dish. So I just slice the bottom off to get a flat surface, and then run my knife down the cheeks here. And that way, all of my seeds, or most of my seeds, stay right there. There's just a few here on my cutting board that I'm going to have to deal with. So once I have that sliced up, what I want to do is just cut that into, about 2 to 3-inch strips. Just like that. Next up, I have 8 brown or crimini mushrooms. 8 mushrooms is about equal to 1/4 pound. And what I'm going to do with these is just slice them up just like that, really easy. We're about to go ahead and prep our last vegetable, so I'm going to go ahead and preheat my pan here. And I'm using a semi-deep pan because this is going to get quite full with all of these veggies that I'm putting in. And I'm going to heat it over medium heat and add 2 teaspoons of a toasted sesame oil. This will give it a really nice flavor. Now you can also use peanut oil in here if you wanted to, but I love the sesame oil. So while that cooks, or while that heats up, let's go ahead and prep our carrots. I have 2 carrots here, and the peel's still on them, no problem. And to make these a little easier to prep, what I do is cut them in half if they're across the width. And I want to cut them into little sticks. So I'm going to cut them lengthwise into these little narrow pieces like this here. And then I take those pieces and I cut them lengthwise again the other direction, just like this. So then when all's said and done, I have these nice little sticks. And so I'm going to do that with both of the carrots. So our pan is heated up here, so now I'm just going to add all those vegetables that we had chopped up. And I want to cook those for about 5 minutes. While that's cooking, we're going to go ahead and start prepping the round 2 of our vegetables. And that's going to start with some curry leaves. So this is the first kind of curry we're going to be adding. You can find these in an Asian food market, or I found these locally in New Seasons in their Asian section in the produce area. And they just have a really nice aroma to them and add a little bit of extra flavor to the dish. So we're going to take 6 leaves, and I'm going to separate them, rip them down the vein there, just like that. Once I have that vein out and I have all my leaves, then I'm just going to mince them up into little tiny pieces. These are absolutely edible, and the curry leaves keep really well in the freezer. Just put them in a resealable freezer bag. Make sure there's no air in the bag, and they'll keep for up to about 3 months. I went ahead and added my curry leaves, and so now what I'm going to do is press in 2 small cloves of garlic. Love my garlic press. And we're going to let that continue cooking. We still have a couple more things we're going to prep here to add into our mixture. Now I have here 2 heads of baby bok choy, and what I like to do is cut the bottoms off these first and then wash them, and it just makes it very much easier to get inside here and get down in the leaves, because there's always, I don't know if you can see that there, but there's always a lot of dirt trapped in there. Once I have those washed, I just try to gather them together as best I can, and I'm just going to slice it. I really like the stalks as well as the greens in this dish, because it just adds a little bit more texture and a little bit of crunch to have those stalks in there too. So once you have those chopped up, we're going to add those right into our pan. And to that, I have 12 ounces of bean sprouts. Now this looks really full. Don't worry, this is going to cook down. And we're going to go ahead and cook this for about another 5 minutes to allow these bean sprouts to wilt up just a little bit and the bok choy to cook a little bit. All of our vegetables are getting really nice and tender here. A little bit of water in the bottom of the pan from the bean sprouts and the mushrooms that have released some of their liquids here. We're going to add a few things more. Starts with ½ cup of shelled edamame beans. These add a nice flavor, but also a little bit of protein, additional protein to the dish, which is very important when you're a vegetarian, to try to get as much protein as you can. Mix that in, and then I have here about a tablespoon of grated ginger root. I'm going to mix that in. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our sauce, and it starts with 2 tablespoons of a reduced sodium soy sauce. And then our second kind of curry, remember our first kind was the curry leaves, and now I have a red curry paste, and this is going to add a little bit of heat to the dish. You can find this in your Asian food section in pretty much any grocery store now. Then let's add a tablespoon of curry powder. This is our third kind of curry. That's it for the curries. And then I want a teaspoon of fish sauce. And that fish sauce is just going to add a little bit of saltiness and adds just a little of extra flavor. Very traditional in Asian cuisine. And I almost forgot. Last but not least, we want a half a teaspoon of ground cumin. It's going to add just a little bit of smokiness to the spice that's in there. Now that curry paste is a little thick, so we want to stir that down into that liquid. Let it break up there. Go ahead and get everything coated. And then our last ingredient is 1 cup of light coconut milk. You want to use the light milk. It's much, much lower in calories than the full fat stuff. I did try this recipe using a smaller amount of the full fat stuff because it does have more flavor to it. But I found that I just wasn't able to get it quite as saucy, and I really like this with a good amount of sauce over some rice. So we're using the light coconut milk instead. That way we still get a lot of flavor without all the calories. And now that we have this together, let's go ahead and dish it up. So I've served up some rice with my vegetables chock full of vitamins and nutrients over the top, a little bit of sauce, and then I just add that tofu that we baked up right on the top, just like that. How delicious is that? I'm going to go sit down and enjoy my meal. I hope you'll give this a try and let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time in my kitchen.